Ah,
Hello.
welcome to Campus Life Live.
Yay!
I hope you're wearing your proper protection.
Yes. These are unusual times calling for unusual face protection.
With that in mind, we'd like to ask you, how was your week?
Yes. How would you describe your week in one word?
Was it interesting? Boring? Perhaps uneventful? But hey, at least you were safe. Caleb, I suggest you wear proper protection. You never know when COVID might sneak up upon you and attack you. Could be the middle of the night.
Yeah. Always. You can ask Jeff, I'm going around the house all day long with my oven mitts mask to protect myself from the many, many germs that could get me.
Indeed. And I keep this painter's mask on, which allows me to breathe and talk nicely. So, keeps me nice. All right, with that, we're going to go into our game of the day.
Yes. Today is a game of trivia about goats.
And in fact, it's called Who's the Goat? So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, here we have a lovely goat. The goal of this game is easy. All you gotta do is identify which animal or thing in the picture is a goat or not a goat. Not too complicated. I think everybody can get it.
Yep, so you're going to say A for the one on the left and B for the one on the right as far as which one is the goat. Bonus points if you can guess what the other thing is that's not the goat.
Indeed. Without further ado, I keep talking in my Tony Evers voice.
Yes, it's very weird. You've been listening to the radio too much today here.
Without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay.
All right.
Put your answers in the comments below. Which do you think is the goat? Side A on the left or side B on the right?
Which one's the goat? Which one's not the goat? And bonus points if you can guess what the other thing is in the picture.
Indeed. This could be any sort of hairy or brown and white object or thing or animal. You never know.
Yep.
Could be your dad. He had alopecia.
All right. We have our answers.
Okay. Here we go. If you guessed A for goat, you're right. And if you guessed B, cow, you're right.
Yes, so Caleb, you guessed B on the cow first, so I'll give you that bonus point.
Congratulations on the bonus point.
Yep.
Moving on.
All right. Next one.
Which one's a cow?
Which was
Wait.
the cow?
Which one's the goat?
Jeff.
I forgot the game already. Okay. Put your answers in the answer box.
Anya, I'm sorry you didn't win that last one.
Anya, I hope you get it right this time.
Yep. All right.
Okay, answers are in.
Let's see what the answer is. A, again, was the goat. And let's see, Robert guessed that B was a dog. That is correct. Well done.
Good
Robert
job,
gets the bonus point for that
Robert.
one.
Okay, round 3.
This one's a little bit more tricky.
Oh, this is a pretty close-up zoom in on hair from 2 different things.
Yes. Could
Could be anything,
It really could be either one.
but we know that one of them is a goat.
The A kind of reminds me of like an otter's fur a little bit.
I don't know how many otters you're looking at.
I look at a lot of otters. They're my favorite animal.
Okay, moving into the answer. If you guessed B, you're right. I don't think we got any of the correct.
Nope, I said B was a goat.
No, yeah. But nobody guessed raccoon.
Oh, right, yes. Alright, so I get to that point. B was the goat.
Fun fact, when we first bought our house,
Mm-hmm.
the spring of that year, we had 4 or 5 baby raccoons living in our tree in the front yard. And they tried to climb on me. They were very cute. I tried to put them back because I thought they'd fallen out of the tree. And I picked one up, and it put its hands over its eyes, and it was freaking out and crying. Like it didn't like being in the air. And then when I tried to put it back in the hole, all the other ones attacked it. So, you know.
Yes, we are not professional wild animal handlers.
Yes. But it was cute.
It was.
Okay. Round 5. Which one's the goat?
A or B? Probably should have saved that fascinating raccoon story while we were waiting for him to go out.
I should have, yes.
Oops. Alright, vote quickly. Alright, let's see what it is. Very nice. So, A was horse, B was horse. Okay, so let's see. Anya and Caleb got that one correct.
Good job, y'all.
Nicely done.
Okay, last round. Which one's the goat? This one's a tricky one because you don't expect a goat to be rainbow colored.
Yes.
But you'd be surprised. There's a rare breed of rainbow goats. They live in the highlands of Peru.
Seriously?
Yes. Okay, put your answers in. I'm seeing a lot of A's for the goat. Here we go.
What do we got?
A is the goat.
Yes.
And B is also a goat. That's me. It's beautiful Nicki Minaj. Perfectly natural. No silicone.
Yes. Beautiful. Just beautiful.
Alright, so who was the winner on that one?
I have no idea. I wasn't keeping track. I think.
Robert?
How many? Did any of you get every single one of you right?
No. I don't think so. Okay, well, thank you for joining us on this edition of Who's the Goat?
Yes.
Where we learned that everybody's loved.
I don't know if that's what we learned.
Welcome back to us. So, announcements. It's been a while. Yes, I feel like it's been 2 weeks.
Yes, Jeff, where were you last week?
Funny question. Answer. No, I don't know. I got sick. That's why I'm wearing my face protection.
Yes, not only did we celebrate Jesus raising from the dead this weekend, we also celebrated Jeff raising from death's door over the weekend.
Indeed, I was very nearly dead. Yes. I got severe food poisoning and almost died.
It was graphic.
It was. It was not fun. Worst food poisoning I've had. And I didn't even vomit, which is surprising. So I survived. Jesus is good. Got me through it. I was knocked out all weekend, but I'm starting to feel better today. So
yes,
I'm back. Sort of.
Yeah. Almost there.
So just remember, it's not just Corona that can kill you. Watch out for the lettuce.
Yeah.
Also, an announcement, which are brought to you by a lovely thing. I don't remember. I didn't put it in.
Oh no. Right.
Announcements today are brought to you by these flowers, reminding us that no, we don't live in an apocalyptic wasteland. It is actually springtime. Go outside and enjoy the flowers. These are from our house.
They smell lovely.
Yes, they do.
Can you smell them through the mask?
Yes, they smell like fresh. So, also announcements. We had a makeshift mask challenge last week, and we have a winner from that. It was Kira Brimmer for Greendale.
Yay.
Great job, Kira.
Yes. Kira made a mask out of tortillas and string. It was beautiful.
The best kind of protection.
Yes. Definitely would save her life. Yes. So, good job, Kira. I will be sending you that $5 gift card this week.
That's a lot of moolah. Okay. So also remember to follow us on Instagram to see our daily posts and updates. Jacqueline's been taking care of that wonderfully. As well as our Zoom call game night this Saturday at 7 p.m. So if you haven't joined our Zoom call game night, all you have to do is download Zoom and then join our call. I'm going to throw up the Zoom call code, which you can write down, or Jacqueline's going to post it tomorrow for the game night as well on our things, or you can message her for it.
Yes.
But you can write this down, take a picture, take a screenshot. We're going to have some fun playing. I don't know what we're going to play.
I have a whole list of different games. Yes. So I think the last one we had was 2 weeks ago, which was pretty fun. We played Drawful for most of it, which was awesome. So yeah, I have a couple more, well, not a couple, I have several more games that I found that you can play over Zoom, so we will be doing that this Saturday at 7 p.m., so join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
Indeed. Okay. Also, we're always open for snack chats, digital. So we can do that over FaceTime, or we can do a Zoom call, or a house party with a couple people if you want. And remember to invite friends for our live stream.
Yes. So, in case you guys didn't hear today, basically the stay-at-home order was extended to the end of May, and we found out definitely that we will not be going back to school this year, which is sad, because even though I knew it was unlikely, I was still really hoping that we would be able to be together again. But it looks like that is not happening. So we will continue doing these live streams every Thursday evening, and continue doing game nights on the weekends, just so we can stay in touch with one another, stay connected, and hopefully we can have an awesome campus life party at our house over the summer when things have settled down a little bit and hopefully gone back to normal. We'll see.
Indeed.
Yes. All right. So we are going to roll into our lesson for today. Our topic is happiness versus joy, if you saw that on social media. These days, people aren't feeling particularly happy about what is going on in our current situation. Yesterday, Jeff got home from work and was feeling pretty frustrated as he's listening on the radio to different things that are going on, different decisions that are being made, and yeah, there's not a whole lot of happiness going around. Day after day in this quarantine, we're looking for different things to help make us feel happy, and help us to escape feelings of loneliness or isolation. So my question for you guys is, what are some things that make you feel happy? Whether it's like happy on a sad day or just happy in general, tell me some things in the chat. What are some things that make you happy? Some things that make me feel happy: Nutella or any kind of chocolate. Eating chocolate makes me feel instantly happy every single time. I may or may not have been eating some of this before we started because it's so close to me. Another thing that makes me feel happy: completing a puzzle or doing a puzzle. Love puzzles. So that can make me feel instantly happy. Flowers in my garden, which Jeff showed off before. These, when I go around my yard and I see them blooming, or I bring them into the house and smell them, it's like instant happiness right there. One that makes Jeff feel happy is cookies. I made a batch of cookies using Trita's recipe for him last night, which I'm sure you might consume some of during your time tonight. Those make Jeff feel happy. Anything else that makes you feel happy?
Shooting guns.
Yes, yeah, target practice, things like that. Let's see, I see the rain and piano. I love both of those answers and would agree with them. Friends, Robert, I would definitely agree with that. And YouTube, yes, YouTube is awesome. Great way to escape, and just like enjoy entertainment. So those are awesome answers. So today I would like to make the argument that happiness is kind of a liar. And here's why. So everyone likes to feel happy, and that's not a bad thing, feeling happy, but believing the lie that it promises is where the problem begins. And so as humans, we're wired to want to seek things that make us feel good and avoid pain, which is why, like, if you're ever walking outside barefoot, usually you want to like walk on the nice, cool, soft grass instead of on sharp gravel or hot blacktop. And so many people will do whatever they can to stay out of situations that would take away their happiness. But unfortunately, that doesn't always work. Because happiness is temporary and it's a feeling that is based on our circumstances and therefore can't sustain itself. Bad things will happen. It's just inevitable in life, and we can't stay happy forever. And when we lose that happiness that we fought so hard to find, it can leave us feeling kind of hopeless. Have you guys ever experienced that in your own life where, like, you tried to search for happiness, you found it, and then lost it for whatever reason, or your circumstances? You are very distracting. Your circumstances changed. If so, tell me what happened. If you feel like sharing, what happened where maybe, yeah, you felt like you had happiness and then it was taken away from you or left. Yeah. This is kind of why I would say that happiness is a liar, because happiness like promises that it's going to fulfill you. It promises that it's going to last, that it's going to feel good, but it never lasts. And it always leaves us wanting more. Like every single time, I feel like when we feel like, okay, I've finally attained happiness, there's always this like, yeah, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and so then it leaves us wanting more. Or like we lose happiness because the circumstances change, or what made us happy at one point in time no longer makes us happy. Um, being rejected, yeah, that definitely would make you not feel happy. Um, yeah, placing your happiness in the wrong things, that's a wise thing to recognize, that when you realize, hey, like this is not a good thing to put your happiness is, that's an important thing to realize and then to try and change, which can be even harder than realizing it, is not putting your happiness in that anymore. Yes, so going off of that, I also would like to argue that happiness isn't always best for us. So our culture is obsessed with this idea of finding happiness. Everywhere you look, you see people searching for happiness. And not only that, but I hear people justifying a lot of things that they do by saying, I just want to be happy. Or like, I deserve to be happy. And unfortunately, I will often hear those phrases when someone is trying to justify something wrong or unhealthy that they're trying to do. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that or even used those phrases when trying to justify maybe a not very good decision, because you just want to be happy. If I decided to eat Nutella all day long while watching Netflix all of the time, it would make me feel happy. However, it would also make me gain probably like 50 pounds and develop some diabetes at a very young age. So although it would make me feel happy, it's not necessarily what's best for me. Like I said, love doing puzzles. However, I get really bad neck spasms, and if I do puzzles for too long, I will get spasms in my neck. And one time, I had spasms.
She had to go to the hospital to get an injection into her muscle because she couldn't move her neck because she played her puzzles for too long.
Yeah, it was.
And they say video games are the problem.
Yeah, it was very bad. Some of the worst pain I've been in. And so doing puzzles, yes, makes me feel happy. However, if I do puzzles for as long as I want to do puzzles, for as long as it feels good, I'm going to end up with some consequences. Same if you're playing video games all of the time and neglecting doing homework or other kind of work, like your grades will suffer, which might inhibit your ability to get into college. I don't know if you guys have any examples of things within your own life that you want to share, of like something that maybe makes you feel happy but isn't necessarily something that is best for you. So it can be short term, but will often leave us with some long-term consequences. So what else is there, right? If we're searching for happiness means that like happiness is a liar and it's not always best for us, then what else do we have? Well, you guys have probably figured it out from the title of what we're talking about today. Joy is another option. And the Bible talks to us about how joy is something that comes from God. And So let's look at like what does that mean and what's the difference between joy and happiness. So we said happiness is a feeling that's based on circumstances. Joy is a state of mind, and it's a conscious choice of putting on a positive outlook regardless of your situation. This doesn't mean that you're just going to try and stay cheerful in the terrible times, or that you're going to be in denial of your feelings and just put on that fake smile. Choosing to be joyful means that you're looking at the reality, you're aware of the situation, no matter how great or crappy it is, you're not in denial of it, and choosing to focus on God's promises and God's truth to help you get through it. So, question for you to put in the chat. The mask, JC, has to do with a challenge that we had on Instagram this week called the Makeshift Mask Challenge.
What mask?
Right, what mask? All right, so put in the chat, have you ever had a time in your life where you chose to be joyful in the middle of a crappy situation? And if so, what did that look like? So if you can remember a time, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. What does that look like practically? So I wanted to highlight a story in the Bible. It's about Paul, and it's found in Acts 16. To give you a little backstory, Paul and his friend Silas were going around telling people about Jesus, and they came across this woman who was a fortune teller, and she was able to tell the future because she had a demonic spirit within her. And so when they saw this woman and she had this demonic spirit possessing her, they cast the demon out. And this woman now didn't have this demon and was really glad. However, the people that owned this woman, that were making a whole bunch of money off of the fact that she was able to tell the future for them, clearly weren't happy because now their source of income was gone. So Jeff is going to pull up the slides here of what happens next. When her owners realized that their hope of making money was gone, they seized Paul and Silas and dragged them into the marketplace to face the authorities. They brought them before the magistrates and said, "These men are Jews and are throwing our city into an uproar by advocating customs unlawful for us Romans to accept or practice." The crowd joined in and attacked against Paul and Silas, and magistrates ordered them to be stripped and beaten with rods. After they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. When they received these orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet into stocks. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. So, what do you think was the reason that Paul and Silas were singing in jail after being brutally beaten? They were able to do this because they knew about the promises of God. They knew that God was faithful, that time and time again, when they were in situations like this, that God gave them a way out, or brought comfort to them, or brought aid to them, or even helped make like really crappy situations like this turn out for good. And it brought them joy in the midst of their suffering. Joy allows us to persevere through difficult situations instead of just trying to escape them. Happiness tells us to escape. It tells us, okay, if things aren't feeling good, then you need to just leave, dump and go. But joy says, okay, you can get through this, and it helps you to persevere through difficult situations. Did anyone have any examples here? So Robert said being optimistic and opportunistic about things. JC said I used to laugh when my dad would yell at me and make him angry, which would make it funny for me. Yeah, so that...
Not quite.
Not quite, but that's a funny example. As far as I know, the Bible never tells us to be happy, not once. But the word joy appears 140 times throughout the Bible. And in the book of Philippians, which is a book that Paul wrote, he tells us to be joyful and rejoice in the Lord 16 different times. And he wrote this book while he was in prison, which seems kind of weird, right? Like, if you're sitting in prison, and prisons back then were not prisons like they are today, it's crazy to think that you could be joyful during that situation, or even tell other people to be joyful. But Paul was able to do that because he realized where the source of joy comes from, which is from his relationship with God. So let's wrap up and review what we've talked about here. So happiness versus joy. Happiness is something that comes from good circumstances versus joy is something that comes from God. Happiness is a feeling, whereas joy is a choice. It's something that we can choose. It's not necessarily a feeling. And happiness is something that is situational. So it depends on the different situations that you're in, versus joy is relational. We're able to feel joy because of the promises that God has given us because of our relationship with Him. We're able to feel joyful or to choose to be joyful. Happiness is unpredictable. I can enjoy flowers one day and then, the next day they're dead. I can enjoy Nutella until it's gone. It's unpredictable whether or not I will feel happiness or how long it will stay. Versus joy is something that is steady or constant. Happiness is temporary. It's something that will last for a while, but then can fade. Joy is something that is long lasting. It's something that is up to me, and I can choose how long I choose to be joyful. And lastly, happiness covers up discouragement, whereas joy defeats discouragement. Happiness, because it's a feeling, we can feel happy even though we might also have some discouragement, and so it doesn't necessarily fix the problem or change the situation. But joy is able to defeat discouragement because joy refocuses our perspective back on God. So I wanted to close here with just telling you guys about some of the promises that God has given that is found in the Bible. I actually wrote this like 5 years ago for a campus life lesson that I did many years ago, and it's called Lies versus Truth. And sometimes what we're feeling is not necessarily what is true. Our feelings can be deceiving and not necessarily accurate of what the truth is. So a feeling might be that God has abandoned me. But the truth that's found in God's word says, because God loves me, He promises to never leave me or forsake me. His love for me is everlasting and will never stop, disappear, or grow cold. Nothing can separate me from His love, not even myself. He won't ever leave me, but will provide mercy and grace when I am in need. Sometimes we might feel like things are never going to get better. But God's truth says, God promises me a future and a hope. I can't see it right now, and I don't know how He's working it out. Still, I choose to trust Him, and while He is working out my problems, I will wait on Him. We might feel like we're never able to change. But God's truth says, when I came to Christ, He made me a new creation. It will take time for me to renew my body, mind, and spirit, but He has promised to change me no matter how I feel in the moment. We might feel like we are unlovable, but God's truth said when Jesus died on the cross, He demonstrated the ultimate act of love for me. He did this because I am chosen and dearly loved. We might feel like we are unacceptable, but God's truth says because God created me and Christ died for me, I am acceptable to Him. And before the world was created, He made the choice to adopt me as His own. We might feel like God won't forgive us, but God's truth says, despite how I see myself, God sees me as blameless and holy because of what Christ did on the cross. It's hard to imagine, but God has completely forgiven me, and when I confess anything that I've done wrong, He is more than willing to forgive and cleanse me of sin, no matter how many mistakes I make. When I'm in a low place, remembering some of those different promises that God has and some of those different truths to combat the lies and to combat the different feelings that I'm having can help me choose to be joyful despite how I might be feeling in that moment because of whatever circumstance that I'm in. So my challenge for you is as you go into this next week to choose joy despite how you are feeling in that moment. You got anything you want to add?
Put me on the spot.
I did put you on the spot. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's all we have for this week. We love you guys. We miss you terribly. I look forward to the day when I can see all of your faces again. I had a ton of fun dropping off the cookie goodie bags over the last 2 weekends. I kind of felt like Santa in April a little bit. I kept track of it. I think I drove about 100 miles and dropped off about 30 different cookie goodie bags for you guys. So that was awesome. Maybe we'll do this again in a couple of weeks. Who knows? But until then, hang in there. We will see you guys hopefully on Saturday for game night if you're able to make it. And feel free to invite friends to that, even if they've never been to Campus Life before. Feel free to invite friends. Just let me know ahead of time so I can let them in. And yeah, like and subscribe our YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. Turn on your notifications. And yeah, that's all we got for today.
Bye, guys. Stay safe. Stay healthy. God loves you. Adios.